Now, I want you to come with me and look at the reasons why I think Gen X is the most underestimated generation. And I want to see if I can change some minds along the way. I'm going to start by saying in today's fast-paced society, the contributions of Gen X often go unnoticed. I mean, it's definitely overshadowed by the louder, more prominent generational voices. But I mean, understanding our unique generation, I think, is crucial to understanding the world that we live in today. I mean, us Xers, we've been the quiet architects of many aspects of modern life. And yet, for too long, we've been overlooked and majorly underappreciated. So how can a generation that has done so much be so easily ignored? Now, when we think of generational impact, I mean, it's typically the millennials and the boomers that dominate that conversation. I mean, the boomers are definitely known for their cultural revolutions and the massive economic boom that followed World War II, and they tend to take credit for all the post-war prosperity. And on the other side, I mean, the millennials are hailed as the tech-savvy, social-conscious generation that pushed the world into the digital age. But people forget that sandwiched between these two generations is us Xers, quietly working behind the scenes, underestimated, and often definitely under-recognized. Now, Gen X, it's often labeled as slackers or the forgotten middle child. I mean, we are in fact the generation that bridges this analog and digital world. We're the first to grow up in both, and we understand the value of a handwritten letter as well as the efficiency of that email. I mean, before the internet was everywhere, we had pagers, payphones. I mean, we grew up with landlines, and we witnessed the birth. I mean, the real birth of cellular phones, mobile phones, social media, and this totally tech-driven world that we now live in. And this unique positioning gives us Xers this unparalleled perspective. I mean, we witnessed massive technological cultural shifts, and we've had to adapt to them, and we did seamlessly. So if we talk about versatility, I mean, you have to admit, nobody does it better than Gen X. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions is that Gen X lacks this clear identity. I mean, people often assume that we're just a blend of the boomers' work ethic and the millennials' innovation. But I'm telling you, brother, nothing can be further from the truth. Generation X has its own distinct values and cultural contributions. Most definitely. One, we're fiercely independent, which is a product of being the latchkey kids in our childhood, which then in turn made us learn to fend for ourselves at really young ages, which has in the end translated us into a generation of resourceful, self-reliant adults who are problem solvers. And this resilience has allowed us to navigate the complex and rapidly changing environments, such as the digital age, without falling behind. Now, another myth that we need to bust is the idea that, Gen X is anti-technology. We are not. I mean, some think that we hold on to the past, reluctant to adapt to the world dominated by screens and tech. When in reality, our generation has been instrumental in driving technological progress. I mean, we're the ones that laid the foundation for the digital transformation, from developing the first iterations of personal computers to spearheading innovations in fields like IT, biotech, finance. We have been at the forefront of every technological advancement. We've embraced change, but in our typical low-key style way. I mean, we didn't always run around shouting our success from the rooftops. There's also this idea that, Gen X is apathetic and disengaged. I mean, many assume that us Xers don't care about the world's problems. The reality couldn't be more different. I mean, while boomers were marching in the streets and millennials were hashtagging on social media, us Xers were in the real trenches, quietly working toward meaningful solutions. I mean, we tackled real social issues, and not just through grandstanding, but through action. We spearheaded, real honest grassroots movements that inspired real lasting change. And yes, we grew up in a time of rapid technological change, economic uncertainty, and social upheaval, which seems almost everybody does. But from the tail end of the Cold War to the early recessions of the 80s and 90s, our generation learned how to navigate ambiguity and uncertainty like no other. We're adaptable, pragmatic, and willing to roll up our sleeves to get shit done when things get tough. We aren't sitting around waiting for a hero to come save the day. We are our own heroes, often solving problems before anyone else even realized that there is a problem to be fixed. And in many ways, we reshaped the modern workplace. We were the first to push for flexible work arrangements, remote working, the greater focus for work-life balance. I mean, these are things that Millennial and Gen Z, I mean, they take for granted now. But it was Gen X who pioneered these concepts. And in the face of big resistance, we've also changed the way we think about productivity, introducing a more humane approach to work that values results over hours spent at a desk. And one of our most significant contributions is our ability to straddle both the analog and digital worlds. Our generation understands the value still of a handwritten thank you note, just as well as we understand the importance of that perfectly crafted email subject line. We've seamlessly integrated the old with the new, driving innovation in industries ranging from media to tech to healthcare. And this ability to bridge the gaps between generations definitely makes us invaluable in today's rapidly changing world. And despite all this, we do rarely seek recognition. I mean, we've transformed the way we live, work, communicate, but we do so without seeking applause. And I think maybe it's time we change that a little. It's time for some recognition for what Xers are. Pioneers, innovators, change makers who have made profound, and I mean profound, contributions to society. So I'd like to finish by saying Gen X is not just a forgotten middle child. We're the backbone of modern innovation, I believe. Cultural evolution, societal change. I mean, our legacy isn't flashy, but it is powerful. I mean, we've proven that sometimes the quietest voices make the biggest impact. And maybe it is time for some acknowledgement of that. So hey, thanks for watching, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So come on, do you give us Xers the recognition we deserve? Yes or no? Let me know. And I'll see you next time.